University of London. So, schoolgirls against university girls. Now, this Headington crew are pretty special. They are in senior quads for a reason. The reason being that they, I suspect, think that they are going to be far too strong for the competition here.
Well, they are national champions, Martin, by some distance.
And they have another event coming up quite soon in the shape of the Jubilee Cup at Henley Royal. And so why not test yourself in, if you like, a division up?
Absolutely.
Which is, so they're rowing under 18. Under 18, under 19? Under 18.
Under 18, yeah.
They're rowing under 18 and then now moving to under 25s?
Certainly against UL, yeah.
Yeah. So
well, you've got to step up, haven't you? If you want to win the top races and you want to compete for the top prizes, you've got to make sure you put as much distance between yourselves and your compatriots as you possibly can. And Headington, look at that, certainly doing that in senior quads.
Yeah, so there you are. The top schoolgirl quad in the country are leading the University of London at the stage coming up now. So they're about quarter of the way through this race. About a length. Now Headington, they could have gone a bit early. They could have front loaded the race and then seen what the students are made of. Looking at the thing, Tom's just put the rates on this, and it looks like University of London are rating a little bit higher. Very, very mature sculling from those young ladies.
Massively.
And it's very tidy, and they are moving quicker.
I think the most remarkable thing about Headington's programme is that whatever they turn their hand to, they are prolific, and they are junior national champions in the 8 and the quad, and I'm sure they'll be eyeing a Diamond Jubilee Cup at Henley Royal with excitement, because they were beaten finalists last year to Gloucester Heartbreed, but I have a feeling that this year might be Ryan Domain's first year.
Yeah. What did I just call it? I said the Jubilee.
The Diamond Jubilee. Yeah.
Jubilee, it is. Yeah. Phew. Yeah, it was unnamed for a few years. Yeah, interesting. So in the junior quads, I was watching Heartbreed earlier, who looked very, very impressive. So I Heartbreed could well give these girls a race in the junior quads. However, this is senior quadruple sculls, and they proved coming up to the halfway point that they are the better crew in this race. Now, have they gone a bit early? Have they still got plenty left in the tank? They look to be in control, don't they?
I'd be amazed.
I have to say.
Now, on the subject of the Diamond Jubilee, you should know the name of it, Martin, because didn't your daughter win it?
Yeah, but it wasn't called that then.
Year.
It was
the Girls Quadruple Sculls.
Yeah,
something like that.
For 3 years, and Henley won it in the inaugural year.
2012, I think.
Yeah, but Heartbreed have dominated for the last couple of years. Latimer Upper.
2013.
Been there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
But here we go. This is Headington.
Yeah.
Schoolgirl quad. And yeah, they're giving a bit of weight away as well, aren't they, to the University of London ladies? I'd be interested to know what the average age of the UL girls was. Anyway, this is the next heat you can see now of the senior quadruple scull. Surrey University Tideway Scullers School. Tideway Scullers, gee whiz, they've gone out like there's no tomorrow, haven't they? Look at that. So Tideway Scullers, bottom screen on the right. Very, very tidy blade work. As I say that, one of them just has a slight wobble. So they've gone to the top of the island and they have smashed out in front over Surrey University. Surrey trying to do what they can here just to stay in the fight. And they talk about not letting a crew get away from you and not letting a crew, I was listening to, who was I listening to the other day? Cracknell or Crossy or one of those guys who commentates on World Rowing, or Pete O'Hanlon, and they were saying how if there starts to be a gap, you know, psychologically what a difference that makes. If you can just keep an overlap,
so you're
in
touch and see the crew that you're trailing to. Because here, you know, the Tideway Scullers opponents have got no idea what's going on. You know, who is it they're racing?
They're broken the
Surrey
course.
University. They've got no idea where Tideway Scullers are. They've got no idea what they're doing. So the contact, especially in a match racing situation like this, is crucial. And I mean, without wanting to, you know, commentators curse, it does look like this race is already decided.
Well, it looked like Headington won their heat comfortably, and it looks like Scullers will win this one. So that could be a good contest. Are they drawn against each other? Looking at the draw here. No, they're not. So we'll see how that pans out. So Tideway Scullers will come up against either Edinburgh or Kingston, and Newcastle will face, Oxford Brookes will face Headington. So that's going to be some superb racing. This one's not over till it's over, but as the bow girl really did crane her neck to look and see where Tideway Scullers were, she was probably horrified to see that they are quite a way away from them. She looked over her left shoulder then and thought, oh dear, they've got away from us. And they have. Tideway Scullers School coming up to the halfway mark, lead by 2.5 lengths.
Proverbial mile, absolutely. You do wonder, like you said at the beginning, Scullers went out at a rate of knots, and you sort of think, have they front-loaded that? Is that too fast? But it's shown to be a tactic that's worked perfectly here.
Yeah, I mean, all the race plans in the world, if the crew next to you fly off, do you stick to your race plan? Do you go and try and get them?
I think, especially in Henley, race plans are almost an irrelevance a lot of the time, because it just always depends on what the other crew is doing, because you're only racing one other person. And if they, as you say, shoot off, then you've got to go with them.
Yeah, I was watching, privileged enough to commentate from the back of the umpires launch, and watching a quad, serious quad. I can't remember who it was now, but it was a serious quad. You know that event, serious quads, serious quads. And you know, there's a girl in the boat who's doing the calls, and there were various stages down the course. They were miles ahead of the other crew, but they still went through the procedure of having their calls. And I think there were 3, if not 4, calls, and the call was for a push.
Yeah.
Lean on a bit more, push the legs down with a bit more purpose, and it was very slick, very impressive. But I suppose you're racing against somebody, then you kind of got to do that at different times. However,
if you're 4 lengths up, though, it becomes almost like a training session, doesn't it? You can row the race you want to row.
Yes.
So that's probably why.
Yeah, and there we have the start then of the next heat of this, the serious fours, as we call it now, the senior fours. They're quadruple sculls, they're not fours. Senior quadruple sculls, Edinburgh University and Kingston. Edinburgh on the left, Kingston, that's easy to recognise, red and white are on the right hand side. And this race looking like it's going to be fairly close at the top of the island. Difficult from this angle.
Braver man than me to try and guess that.
Braver man than me, Gunga Din. Now on the right hand side, as we look at the images here, we've got Edinburgh. Stan gave us chapter and verse on their start programme yesterday, so I'm not going to bore anybody with that. And on the left, we've got Kingston. And it looks from this angle as if Edinburgh have gone out with some real purpose, and by the top of the island have got a lead of,
2 lengths.
It looks like 2 lengths. That's quite a bit, isn't it? Because we were having a chat yesterday about how many strokes. Well, I suppose how many strokes per minute you do, but if you go off rating like a nutter, you're going to get to the top of the island quicker. But nevertheless, the distance-wise, that island is not that long, so to take 2 lengths off another crew is a lot.
It's a man a stroke. It's quick.
A man a stroke.
My maths isn't very good, Martin.
A lady a stroke.
A lady a stroke.
Woman's regatta.
Women's regatta. I forget about these.
Oh, Thomas, what are we going to do here? Right. Well, the next round will be interesting, won't it? Not to take away from these guys, but Edinburgh look here to have a really good lead. And as they pass us, we're in an elevated position, boys and girls, and we can look down and we can just see how relaxed the crews that have a decent lead are. And there's Kingston going past us now. Still putting the work on, still staying in the fight, but not making any ground on the leaders, who are Edinburgh. So, did you finish with your results, Tom? How did you get on with that?
Got a couple more senior quad results. For race 193, it was a win for Oxford Brooks by 2 lengths. And for Headington School, who we were waxing lyrical about earlier, in race 194, they were victors over the University of London by 1.5 lengths. So I think, Martin, you're certainly right in saying that the next round should throw up some pretty interesting clashes.
It certainly should. 30th Henley Regatta, beautiful programme, and I am actually going to take the opportunity to have a look into it and see how, see what time these races are tomorrow, because they look like they could be some absolute crackers. It's the J16s. No, it's not. It's the 8s next. Galway Dart Totnes, Cantabrigian, Lee. Tideway Scholars up against Kingston Rowing Club A. Age Club off against Staines. So, yeah, some really good racing. Coming up next, the 8s. Then we have the Junior 16 Coxed 4s. Headington, Great Marlow. Marlow Emmanuel, Yarm Putney. Lee Rowing Club up against Henley Rowing Club. Beckett, who I commentated on earlier. They're from Nottingham, you know. Beckett up against Marlow. Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong event. Sorry. Headington, Great Marlow, Marlow, Emmanuel, Yarm, Putney, Lee Rowing Club against Henley Rowing Club. They are the 4 races there that follow the 8s, and it's the 8s that are underway at the moment. So looking at your screen, Galway on the Bankside, on the Berkshire station, Dart Totnes on the Buckinghamshire station. Umpire, it's Pinsent, is it? Yeah, Matt Pinsent with his flag out, warning the crew on the Buckinghamshire station to get back. Dart Totnes are responding, but dear oh dear, that takes a bit out of your run of your boat when you have to do a bit of a right-hand turn there. That was Commentary Ken at the back of that boat, I think, commentating on that. Commentary Ken.
Legend in his own lifetime.
Yeah, head of the commentary team here, retiring this year. He's only 97, he's giving up a bit young, I reckon. There's a length here in this. The Irish girls.
Despite their erratic steering at the start. Considering they steered over towards Dart Totnes, you have to wonder how much that affected the British crew, because actually Galway, they've already got clear water. And in an 8, psychologically that is massive.
Yes, so it is Galway, nearest to the bank here, that have a lead in this race, and that's a fairly big lead at this stage of the race in 8s.
Well, we were having this discussion earlier in the commentary box about if you're from Ireland or you're from America or Australia or wherever you happen to hail from, you wouldn't come across to Henley Women's Regatta unless you had a pretty good idea that you were going quite fast. Because you think about the time and the money and the effort that it takes to travel across to admittedly a beautiful Henley today. You would expect the crew to be of a reasonable standard if they've come from Ireland, and indeed Galway, made famous by Ed Sheeran, are having a pretty good go of it, and they've got clear water over Dart Totnes on the Buck station.
Yeah, they're heading down through the enclosures now, so the halfway point coming up soon, and the distance as they pass the halfway will be announced over the public address system here. But the Irish girls not letting up. In fact, Dart Totnes are not losing any ground on them, but they're Still good length down.
Well, they're certainly not losing any, but they're not really gaining any either. It's a lovely shot, isn't it, as it comes past Forley Court.
Yeah, been a beautiful day. If anything, we've had a few gusts of wind today. I was following one race. It was an American, really good American schoolgirl 8.
Is it St Paul's?
No, it wasn't. It was somebody B&N. Bucking.
Okay, yeah.
Bucking B&M.
Yeah, I think I know you're talking about. Oh, Buckingham B&N School.
Yeah. I thought it was a supermarket when I first read it. I thought it was a B&Q. No. Anyway, it was. It's not. Woo, they were good. Anyway, they reached about a halfway point where there was no shelter, and a gust of wind, and it blew them across. Which, whoa, I thought this is interesting.
Yeah, considering how tranquil it does look out there. I think actually, if we look back down towards the start, this race seems like it's fairly much wrapped up, and I think we've got the next heat quarter-final of the Club 8s.
Yeah, they've just gone through there. You see the boys there at the bottom of the screen. That's where you then start to move out towards the end of the island. At the end of the island, there is overlap in this race. This is the next one down the track. Cantabrigian up against the Lee. Cantabrigian are on the Berkshire station. The Lee in that distinctive bright orange tops, bright orange spoons to their blades. The Lee are trailing here. It's about a length, isn't it? Cantabrigian are pumping away.
From where you are here to that field over there.
Yeah, and certainly at this stage of the race, just coming up to the barrier, approaching our little commentary box. It's a pretty comfortable margin to have. It just about nicks clear water from the lee, and I think as the two crews sweep past us, it does look like Cantabrigian have the more dynamic of the two rhythms. Looks like they've got a bit more time on the recovery, which means they've probably got a bit more time in the water, which is crucial as they come down the Henley course. And there we go, as they go past the barrier, just moving into the middle a little bit. I don't know if that's a deliberate ploy from their cocks, but on the Berkshire station it is Cantabrigian who lead by about a length and a half over the lead.
So it's intermediate Club 8s for the Invesco Perpetual Challenge Cup, sponsored by Invesco Perpetual. Tom's offered to go and get me a pin. That's very, very kind. In fact, the big crowds here this afternoon. I was having a mooch around as we get a fantastic overhead view, and if you look at that picture there, the public enclosure is absolutely thronging. The bar has got a queue like I've never seen, and people are getting jugs of Pimm's and having a splendid time. So all of those umbrellas there you see on the left-hand side, absolutely packed with people and enjoying the racing and enjoying this, the 30th Henley Women's Regatta. I had a chat with Miriam Battin, the regatta chairman, and she, fingers crossed, said, wow, it's going so well. And it is, and it's thanks to you, Miriam, and well done, you and your committee. Brilliant stuff. So the lead trailing here, Cantabrigian. Championship 8s. So it was Edinburgh that overcame Kingston in the last heat of that quadruple sculls. It was Galway who overcame Dark Totnes. Looks like Cantabrigian here that will overcome the Lee. Down at the start, we've got Tideway Scholars School 8 up against Kingston Rowing Club A. So they're pretty much nigh on neighbours, aren't they? I think they're very close together. Scholars
are Chiswick, aren't they?
and Kingston. They'd be at Kingston.
Kingston.
Kingston on Thames. Kingston on Thames. Yeah. Anyway, they are near neighbours. They're on the start. And let's look at this one get under. There they are. They wind it up, wind it up, wind it up, and the Coxes will be urging them on. Brilliant.
It's quite a
Brilliant
sight to
pictures.
behold, isn't
Oh,
it?
it's fantastic. Big crowds down there watching that. You've got to hold it together. You can't go nuts, splash around. You've got to actually make sure you move the boat. But wind it up, wind it up, wind it up. Put the rate meter on that, Tom, and we've got just over 40 strokes a minute there, I reckon. That is huge. And now then, have they stayed close together? They're at the top of the island, and Scullers have just, I reckon, got their nose ahead of Kingston, but
Certainly a better match than the previous two.
looks a bit like it.
Or maybe not. Have I got this all wrong?
No, I don't think you have. Intermediate Club 8s, it's probably what, it's only about half a length that. A bit more maybe.
Half length might be generous, I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, Scullers. It's just that transition. Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's the power and everything, but it is settling down into that rhythm. So you're at race, you go off like Billio, under control, good start, and then is that a rowing term, Billio?
I've never heard it.
Isn't it? It's remember it.
It should be.
Remember it. Old school, no school like the old school. Billio, and then you settle down into that race pace, and that transition very much dictates then your rhythm and how you get into that rhythm. If you struggle to get in a rhythm, I think Alison Mowbray was saying earlier, and other athletes are well known as saying it's keeping your hand in the fire that bit longer than the other crew. Just keeping your nerve a bit longer. Just over a length here.
Well, I actually saw these Tideway Scullers girls race earlier this morning, and they, I think, were one of the fastest crews down the track we've had all day. I think they did a 5:04. Bearing in mind the record for this event is 4:58, and that was in their heat. So I certainly think Tideway Scullers, just looking at them there, are a crew to watch out for.
Well, I suppose, apart from those gusts and winds earlier, these conditions, you could well end up with fast times.
This is as good as it gets in Henley.
I mean, you never mentioned the stream at Henley. Good Lord. Stream, old boy? No, what stream? But there is no stream, is it? I mean, it's
Negligible.
it's as flat as, and the wind, when it drops, perfect conditions. Big crowd down there, lots of cheering going on. Tideway Scullers School going through the halfway mark, and they are still just about a length and a quarter now ahead of Kingston Rowing Club. Yeah,
I would describe that as comfortable.
yeah.
I think in an 8, any time you break contact in an 8, your opposition are in serious danger.
Well, they're big boats to accelerate, aren't
Absolutely.
they? An 8.
Yeah, I think that looking at Tideway Scullers there in the foreground of that shot, they've got exerted complete control over this race, and I have to say they are a crew to watch out for in this intermediate Club 8s event, because they have already had a fantastic regatta and got very close to the course record earlier this morning, and I'm sure they'll be gunning for silverware tomorrow, and what a set of races we've got for you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. So we are into the intermediate Club 8s. Tideway Scullers against Kingston. Down at the start is Agecroft against Staines. Agecroft in the red, nearest to the towpath. Staines, green and white, on the far side. Be nice to see Staines do well. They've not done a lot over the last few years, as far as I can or have seen. But it's good to see them out racing here. Agecroft, always tough opponents there from Manchester. And you can see there just on the bottom screen to the right of the screen one of the volunteers holding the boat, and let it go, and here we go, wind it up, there we are, and striding out now, sending some massive puddles, and you never get tired of watching an 8 start, do you? It's brilliant.
Not at all. Energy, tempo, it's got everything, hasn't it? Start of an 8, and I think speaking to Phelan Hill, who's obviously the Cox of the gold medal winning 8 in Rio this year, he said it's the perfect dichotomy. It's the perfect opposition of the silence before the start and then the gun-ho when the flag drops. And there you can see